If you've ever walked along the Hudson River or through a harbor on Long Island Sound and thought, I could live on one of those, looking at the boats, you're not alone. New York has a long maritime history, thousands of recreational boats, and some of the most valuable waterfront real estate in the United States. So it would seem logical that people would try to combine the two ideas, housing and boats. And you can do it, but you'll need to know how. Living aboard a boat in New York State is not a simple lifestyle choice. It's a complicated combination of marina policy, municipal regulations, winter climate, environmental law, and economics. If someone is seriously considered living aboard a boat in New York, they need to understand the regulatory landscape, the cost structure, and the operational realities of doing the thing. Let's start with the most important fact. There is no statewide liveaboard system in New York. Unlike some coastal states where floating communities are sort of established and regulated like residential neighborhoods are, New York treats boats primarily as recreational vehicles. That means whether you can live aboard is determined largely by the marina or municipality where the boat is going to be kept. In many places, living aboard is either restricted or seasonal or unofficially tolerated rather than formally permitted. Some municipalities have explicit rules limiting occupancy too. For example, the city of New Rochelle in Westchester County amended its municipal code so that vessels may only be occupied seasonally between April 1 and November 30. And even then, only under specific conditions. The vessel must be a functioning recreational boat and must have navigational access to the Long Island Sound. On the south shore of Long Island, the town of Hempstead has an even stricter policy. Its code prohibits sleeping aboard boats in town waters between November 15 and April 1. During that same period, most marina services, water and pump out, waste disposal, electricity, are shut off entirely. That essentially makes year-round liveaboard life impossible in those municipal facilities. This pattern repeats across much of the state. Many marinas that are owned by municipalities or the state operate seasonally and close or significantly reduce services in winter. State facilities like Allen H. Tremont State Marine Park on Cayuga Lake requires boats to be removed from the water by mid-October, and they don't permit overnight occupancy in camping units, so you can't sleep on the boat once it's out of the water. So the first major conclusion is this: in New York, living aboard is typically only possible at private marinas, privately owned, that will allow you to, and even there, it may be limited to a certain number of boats. Next comes the environmental regulations. Most of New York's coastal and tidal waters are designated no discharge zones under state and federal law. These include the Hudson River estuary and Long Island Sound. In these waters, it's illegal to discharge treated or untreated sewage from a vessel. Every boat must have a holding tank and must be pumped out at an approved pump-out site. That means access to pump-out infrastructure is actually essential for anyone who wants to live on a boat. Harbors maintain pump-out facilities and even operate pump-out boats sometimes that will service their moored vessels. Without that infrastructure, though, daily life aboard would quickly become very impractical. Now, let's talk about the geography of where living aboard is actually a little bit more feasible. There are three main regions to consider. First is New York City and the lower Hudson River. Second is western Long Island Sound. Then third is the Hudson River north of the city and in upstate waters. Each region has different costs and practical considerations. Starting with New York City itself, the iconic marina for decades has long been the 79th Street Boat Basin in Manhattan. I've been there, it's awesome. The facility historically provided both moorings and dockage directly on the Hudson River within walking distance to the subway. However, the basin is currently closed for major reconstruction projects and has been one of the most oversubscribed marina facilities in New York. Before closing, the wait list for moorings could stretch for years. Even when that facility reopens, demand is expected to exceed the supply of space by a huge margin. Other Manhattan marinas exist too, including the facilities at Chelsea Piers and Hudson River Park. These locations offer seasonal dockage and excellent access to the city. However, they're priced accordingly and primarily serve transient vessels and high-end recreation boats rather than full-time residents. Because of that, many people who want to live aboard while working in Manhattan often look across the river. One of the best known examples is Liberty Harbor Marina in Jersey City. While technically located in New Jersey, it sits directly across from Lower Manhattan and functions as part of the same boat ecosystem, and it's a quick PATH train ride over to the city. Dockage rates there provide a useful benchmark for regional cost structure. For vessels 25 to 64 feet, Liberty Harbor lists seasonal summer dockage at approximately $250 a foot. Winter dockage around $90 a foot. Year-round dockage roughly $305 to $320 per foot, depending on whether the boat remains in the water or is hauled out for winter. For a 35-foot sailboat, that translates to roughly $10,000 or $11,000 a year for the dock alone. That does not include electricity, winterization, insurance, and haulouts and any maintenance required. Other marinas along the Hudson can be somewhat less expensive. Surveys of Hudson River marinas have shown seasonal summer dockage prices around $84 to $170 per foot, depending on where, with smaller towns uprivers generally being less expensive than the major metropolitan area. However, the further north you go, the more seasonal the facilities become. Many Hudson River marinas haul boats out for the winter because ice can form even in sheltered basins. That means liveaboards must either move south to winter docks or find a marina that maintains heated or protected winter slips. This leads to the second region that's often more practical for year-round liveaboards, Western Long Island Sound. Ports such as Port Washington, City Island in the Bronx, and harbors in Westchester County have long boating traditions and large mooring fields. These harbors are more sheltered than the Hudson River and have extensive marina infrastructure usually. Town moorings are available for relatively modest seasonal fees, with residential rates for smaller boats under 26 feet around a few $100s per season and higher fees for non-residents. However, moorings alone are not usually sufficient for a liveaboard person. A liveaboard boat generally needs shore power and winter access to docks and reliable services like fresh water and pump-out facilities. Those are typically found only in full-service marinas. Private marinas in these areas often provide several hundred slips, winter storage options, and year-round dock access. Even so, many of them limit the number of boats allowed to live aboard. A marina might allow a small percentage, perhaps 5 to 10% of its slips to be occupied overnight or for long term. These spots are typically in high demand and long waiting lists, sometimes require special agreements too. Then there's the third major factor here, winter. Anyone considering living on a boat in New York has to plan for the cold weather operation. Average winter temperatures in the New York region hover around freezing, and at nighttime drop well below freezing. Ice can form in poorly protected basins and around hulls that are not actively heated. Most liveaboards rely on shore power to run electric heaters or diesel heating systems. Condensation becomes a serious problem when you're heating something. When the warm interior air of the cabin meets cold hull surfaces, moisture condenses on the bulkheads and insulation, and without proper ventilation and insulation of the boat, the interior can become moldy and persistently damp. Having lived on a boat in cold temperatures, I can tell you firsthand, it's very hard to get your clothes dry, which becomes very annoying. Professional sailing publications have long emphasized that winter liveaboard life requires careful insulation of the hull surfaces, proper airflow, and safe heating systems that are designed for marine use. And safety is also a concern. Space heaters and improvised heating setups have caused numerous boat fires in cold climates. Many marinas prohibit certain types of heaters or require inspection of electrical systems before allowing any winter occupancy. Another logistical challenge is ice management. Some liveaboards use small bubblers or water agitators around their slips to keep ice from forming against the hull. Others rely on marinas that maintain circulating water systems in their basin. Without those systems, heavy ice can damage the docks, the pilings, and of course, your boat. And cost is the final consideration. Living aboard can sometimes be cheaper than renting an apartment in New York City, but the savings are often smaller than you might think. Consider a typical mid-sized cruising sailboat around 35 feet. Annual dockage in New York region is going to be from $8,000 to $12,000 depending on where. Electricity and winter heating may add several $100s to that price per year. Insurance for a cruising boat can easily exceed $1,000 a year. Haul-outs, maintenance, bottom paint, routine repairs, often adding several $1,000s more. In practice, most liveaboards in the region are spending between $12,000 and $20,000 per year simply keeping a boat in a marina. That doesn't include the purchase of the boat itself. And finally, there's the question of housing security. Unlike apartments, marina slips don't come under tenant protection. A marina operator can change policy, they can raise the price, or they can eliminate liveaboard privileges entirely without even very much notice. In recent years, several houseboat communities in New York have faced eviction or redevelopment pressure as waterfront property value increases. That uncertainty is part of the lifestyle. So, what does this all mean for someone considering living aboard in New York? It means the lifestyle is possible, but it requires careful planning. The best opportunities tend to be in established boating harbors along western Long Island Sound or at private marinas that explicitly permit liveaboards. Prospective residents should expect to pay marina level prices rather than apartment level prices, should plan for winter heating and condensation management, and should verify municipal regulations before committing to a location. And most importantly, they should understand that in New York, living aboard is not simply an alternative housing option. It's a boating lifestyle first and housing second. If someone approaches it with that mindset, it can be a rewarding way to live closer on the water in one of the most interesting maritime regions in the whole country. But it's not an easy loophole to the New York housing market that people might imagine it to be. If you found this information interesting, you might also be interested in what the West Coast has to offer. Here's a great article called Harbor Hopping the U.S. West Coast, a cruiser's guide from Oregon to Avalon. A great read if you're up for some more learning today. I'll leave a link in the description for you. If you like sailboat videos, don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. It really helps us out, but also it lets YouTube know that you like this kind of stuff, so it'll show you more of it. How cool is that? And hit subscribe so I can see you again next time.